ByteDance has admitted that they refuse to sell the algorithm. So even if they do sell the ownership of the app to an American company, the algorithm is still not going to be the same. So what does that mean for people that are on TikTok and consider themselves to be TikTokers? Well, this is going to be all about all the mindset shifts and changes that those people should make to be able to continue on either their business, their platform, their content creation strategy, all of those things. So as we are going through this, I will be doing my makeup and getting ready for the day. If you are new here, my name is India. I have been a TikToker since 2020. So I started creating content. Not me being out. So I started creating content in 2020 on TikTok. And at the time that I started, I'd also had an Instagram platform. However, as you may be aware, it is pretty simple for you to grow a following on TikTok. So when I realized that I could grow a following pretty easily and also start to be recognized by brands pretty easily because of the discoverability of the app, I spent majority of my time on TikTok. At that time, I didn't have a following on Instagram, so I had less than 5,000 followers. And the reason why I decided to actually switch up my content strategy in the last year and a half is because of the first time that TikTok was actually going to get banned. So when that happened in early 2023, I decided I need to start building on other platforms so that I have an audience elsewhere. However, that did require me to change up my content and to make some mindset shifts on other platforms like Instagram and also here on YouTube. So the first thing that TikTokers should be aware of when they're trying to pivot to other platforms is that TikTok very much feeds people's need for instant gratification. So if you're millennial Gen Z, you've probably been accused of wanting instant gratification in whatever it is that you do in your real life, outside of creating content. But that pretty much holds true for this platform. So a lot of people really blew up overnight from creating on TikTok. The short form video content popped off and it really jumpstarted a lot of people's careers. I mean, including myself. Like, I wasn't the only one to grow a following of over 400,000 followers, but other apps do not work in that way. So I'm particularly referring to Instagram and YouTube. It is much more difficult to grow a following on Instagram and even more difficult to grow a following on YouTube. And why is that? That's because of a few different things that TikTok has kind of shifted in the content creation and industry space for the last few years. So previously, when you wanted to become a creator, you had to have a lot of tools other than a phone to create content and to acquire audiences. TikTok has this immense discoverability where you can seemingly go viral overnight. And we have seen it happen so many times with so many different creators. I don't need to give any examples because I'm sure you know of plenty of them and can name them in the comments. But what people have failed to recognize, and particularly new creators that really put all of their eggs into the TikTok basket, is that other apps do not allow you to grow as quickly as TikTok, meaning you are going to have to be significantly more consistent in creating quality content that people want to see. So let's break that down for a second. So as TikTok stands, it has one of the most user-friendly platforms where you can open up the app, view a few videos, right? And then you can just create a video straight from your phone, edit it directly on your phone, and post it directly from your phone to the app. So it doesn't require you to have much thought. It doesn't require you to have much equipment. It doesn't require you to even have original ideas, because a lot of what TikTok algorithm feeds off of is trending content. So the stitch feature was extremely popular with TikTok. It was something that we hadn't seen before on any other social media platform. And it's really one of the reasons why there were a lot of huge conversations going on during different presidential elections, during political uprisings, during a bunch of different things that have happened in the last 4 years, because TikTok is able to push out your video quickly, and it's also allowing users to create content very quickly and upload that content quickly, and also allows people to interact with each other. So creators to interact with creators to interact with their audiences, brands to interact with their audiences. It is a very fast moving app that has never really been done before. And that brings me to my next point, that if you want to grow a following on other apps, you have to really hone in on original ideas. Like I said, TikTok really used the stitch feature and really came up with a stitch feature in social media in a way that we had never seen before. And Instagram has tried to replicate that by having the remix feature, although I still personally don't even know how to use it. But based on my own data and my own experience from growing a following on Instagram, a lot of my audience members that have followed me in the past have been because of my own original content. And TikTok also made it easy for people to jump onto trends, so trending sounds, trending topics, trending ideas, and also with the birth of the Creator Insights feature, it really allowed you to see what people were searching for, what people were looking for, what people were talking about on the app. No other app really has that other than Pinterest, and you can use other YouTube software to really find what topics are trending. However, the app really allowed a lot of people to take off because of the trend. So the trending sounds and the trending videos. And when it was first born, a lot of people could just do a dancing trend. Other apps don't work that way. A lot of the trends really start on TikTok, and then people just carry it over to other apps like YouTube Shorts and Instagram. So I could definitely see the trends being less popular because information takes a lot longer to reach everyone on those apps. And because of that, a lot of people definitely need to start relying on that original content. So if you were someone that was really stitching videos and just talking about popular things and essentially being a yapper on the app, that's probably not going to work on other platforms because other platforms don't allow you to access information as quickly as you would be able to on TikTok. Where's my setting powder? And there were so many times when I would be scrolling TikTok and I would just see the different people say the same exact ideas because people essentially just take whatever they see on someone else's video, stitch it, or they just refer to it, and all of a sudden everyone's seeing the same information and making the same points, and even if they're trying to make think pieces. So I can definitely see that trends are not going to be as popular in the future, and you really have to rely on original content. So what does that mean? That means you need to know what it is you were talking about and genuinely be an expert in whatever it is that you were discussing. It was so easy for people to just, again, pick up their phones and create a video based on a trending topic and, talk about whatever it is in that moment. But if you are on an app like Instagram or YouTube Shorts, it's going to take much longer for your video to even hit the For You page or hit the feed and whatever app you're using. And that being said, if you already don't have a following, so if you're a small creator and you're just piggybacking off of what someone else said, it's probably already been said by someone else who's a larger creator than you are because of how the algorithms work on other apps. So it really means you need to start honing in on your own ideas and probably even capitalizing on series to start to bring in new audience members and give them something interesting that they want to see. For the last few years since TikTok has become popular, a lot of the For You page has just been trending videos, trending towns, trending topics, and occasionally some original content. And if you've been paying attention, a lot of people that are creating those original content pieces are people that are able to grow their own following. That is something that you're just not going to be able to avoid as we move into this TikTok ban, especially if you want to create on YouTube. There are so many YouTube creators, and not to say that it's saturated because I truly do not think that it is, but people really come to YouTube for quality content. They don't come to YouTube for half-baked ideas. They don't come to YouTube for a half-ass explanation. A lot of people come to YouTube to learn something and to gain a value from a creator. So even if you are someone that's creating lifestyle vlogs, you really need to start to learn how to create those vlogs that people want to click on it. The main difference between YouTube and TikTok is that YouTube does not give you any views. If you create a video on TikTok and your video is bound to get at least a handful of views, whether or not you have a following, but if you create that same video on YouTube, you are not guaranteed any viewership because that's just not how the app works. So if you're someone that really struggles with coming up with ideas and trying to figure out how to hone in on your own original content or something that you are an expert in, I talk about this in grave detail in my creator course. It's gonna be linked in the description box. And I also discuss how you can monetize your content and monetize in multiple ways, which is my next point. So although a lot of people really love TikTok itself, like I said, I just got my start on TikTok and I really did enjoy the app while it lasted. However, there was a point that I realized that TikTok is much more of a short form career platform where creators that blow up on the app aren't necessarily guaranteed a long-term success or a long-term career because of how quickly the app moves. However, if you are a YouTuber or if you are even have a substantial Instagram following, there are many more opportunities for you to monetize outside of the TikTok app itself. And even if you're using other apps, you can still monetize in other ways. Whenever I'm explaining this concept to people who are newer to content creation, I talk about it in this way. If you are someone who watches Real Housewives, you see where all the Real Housewives are going throughout the entire year. Like Kyle Richards is not just on the show and that's it. She's on the show. She's on the after show. She's going to the reunions. She's going to BravoCon. She's going to talks in person and meeting people in different settings. She's also doing sponsorships. She also makes appearances. So you have to think about your own content creation career. If you want this to be a full-time career or a long-term career, you have to think about it in ways that you can't just rely on a singular app for your means of income. There are so many apps that you can create on and that you can have your content on, but you have to be on top of actually making sure that you're creating on those apps. You have to be thinking about your business as a business and really pursuing multiple streams of income to have a long form career in this career path. A lot of people really relied on TikTok for TikTok Shop, for the creator program, for the marketplace, for getting different brand deals. I mean, they really put all of their eggs in that one basket, and now it's really showing because TikTok is not going to be around. And if you remember way back in the Vine days, a lot of creators that were on Vine and really made all of their money from, brand partnerships on Vine, ended up having to start over on other apps because they weren't on other apps. All of that to say, you have to think of your content creation as a business and not just me making a cute video. Again, the cute videos are not going to go very far in this day and age because of what people look for in other apps. Like, you have to have at least high quality or quality content with sound lighting and great sound to create a good YouTube video. And that still doesn't even guarantee that your videos are going to get views. So like I said, if you're someone that's really looking to make it a long-term career, you can definitely check out my creator courses linked in the description. But that brings me also to the next point, that the quality of your content itself can no longer be the dim lighting, the pixelated images, just you having half of your face on a screen or not even showing your face at all. A lot of creators that you see that are really having these long-term careers are people that are creating face channels, not faceless channels. So what does that mean? That means you need to have your ish together. Not only does the substance of your content need to be good, as in you're talking about, you're explaining it in a way that people can understand and that people can actually follow you, but you also have quality content, okay? There's no pixelated images. Your videos don't look like they were created in 2001, okay? You look like you put energy into this. And not only that, but you are having a consistent creator schedule where people know when to see you. When you were on TikTok, you could probably just make a video of the spur of the moment, and whether or not you're posting at a certain time or not, you could see some success in it. On other apps, it's not that simple. So you really have to start to be on your creator game and creating content that is quality, that people actually want to see, that people are going to want to watch and want to spend time with you on, so that you can start to gain an actual following and an audience in other places. And the last point that I want to make is that the TikTok ban, although it is very stressful for a lot of people and can definitely impact a lot of small businesses and a lot of creators, this is not new to the creator industry. Like I talked about earlier, Vine was here one day and it was gone the next. And although people were really on YouTube in 2016, TikTok blew up and everyone started to shift to TikTok. So it's not that this is the end of the world or that this is the end of content creation or the end of TikTok, because again, if ByteDance does sell it, then TikTok will still be around, but it'll just be a totally different app. But it's that this industry ebbs and flows so quickly and changes so quickly that you need to be someone that can pivot. If you cannot recognize what is going on, whether it be in the current news, in the landscape, in the industry, in the money, if you cannot pick up what is happening before it happens or as in its early stages, you are going to be left behind. Okay, people that survive in this industry are people that are able, and not just in this industry, but in any entrepreneurial type of course, if you are an entrepreneur or you consider yourself to be one and want to be one, you have to be able to pivot and change. So if your thing was, making clean talk videos on TikTok, that's great, but you got to shift it, babes. You got to do something else. And it's not that the videos may be poor content. It's not that it may be like bad quality. It's just that as time changes, what people desire changes as well. And I talked about this in my 2025 predictions video about how people are definitely considering and craving long form content these days because they're just exhausted from the short form content and the lack of substance on the short form content videos. But really that this happens all the time. Every industry goes through a change where you can expect to see something totally flip. I mean, even if you think about Uber totally changed the taxi industry. It changed the public transportation industry as a whole. It wasn't something people were expecting, but when it blew up, they said, okay, we have to make a shift. We have to make some changes. And that's when you started to see the birth of more taxi apps. Now, on the topic of long form content, I definitely need to make the point that the opportunity with long form content is significantly higher than short form content. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you were in the creator rewards program on TikTok and you got a video that was, let's say, 1 million views, you were probably paid somewhere between $1,000 to $1,500, right? But if you get those same 1 million views on a long form video on YouTube, the opportunity for you to make money on YouTube is significantly higher. I mean, $10,000 to $40,000 for a YouTube video. So obviously that really depends on your niche, what you're talking about, the length of your video, and a bunch of different topics that I discussed in another video. But the opportunity for long form content is totally different. But again, that being said, it takes longer for you to grow on a platform like in YouTube for long form content because you need to have all the other things that I discussed already in place. So as I finish my hair, I want to wrap it up by saying that although this is another shift in the content industry, it is not the end of the content industry because there has been a significant increase in users on social media and a significant decrease of users that are now on social media that are watching traditional TV forms. So even though people may not like creators or they say they don't like creators, they're still watching the content, right? Even though people say they're watching Netflix, they actually still have their phones in their hands and they're still watching content from their favorite creators. So the creator industry isn't actually going anywhere, it's just shifting. And what people truly need to recognize, especially people who really put all their eggs in that TikTok basket, is that you need to be more strategic in how you are making each move, how you are really planning your content strategy, because stuff like this happens very frequently and more frequently probably than other industries. So if you are someone that really wants to have a long-term career in content creation, again, you need to be able to pivot. You need to be able to shift your mindset from instant gratification to long form gratification or maybe extended gratification. And you also need to get really organized with how you're creating content, how often you're posting it, how consistent you're being, and what type of audience you are catering to in your content and how you can deliver the best quality content for them. Again, people are not going to watch your selfie videos or your thirst traps. Like, they're not going to spend 15 minutes watching a thirst trap. You need to actually have people wanting to watch you and keeping their attention for a longer period of time. And if you are able to do that, you will by far be one of the most successful creators moving into 2025. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you are someone that really needs help figuring out your content strategy and how to grow on other platforms outside of TikTok, you can check out my creator courses linked in the description box. But let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.